Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where this rocket was a bit of a failure because I was dumb. So we need a we need a slight decoupler here. 2.5 meter? Is that correct? Yes, a 2.5 meter decoupler. Okay, so now we can use our heat shield. That'll be nice. Now the next thing that I'd like to do is probably on top of the heat shield, I want to put in, if we've got one, a 2.5 meter reaction wheel. And we do. So we'll go ahead and put one of those there. Okay, so that's two of the main flaws in this rocket addressed. Now for the third main flaw, and that is these solar panels cannot be retracted once they've been extended. So we're going to ditch those, and we are instead going to be running these 3x2 solar panels. They're a little on the larger side, to be sure. Let's switch this over to mirror. And I would like these to be, I mean, right about here, except that I want to be able to rotate these guys to be a little bit more, I mean, not that way, a little bit more like this, straight on, and then just rotate them to be about like that. Now that's not perfectly ideal, but it'll work for now. I just want to check here. Those are two thermometers. Okay. So then let's put some small photovoltaic panels here. Those should be a little bit safer. And let's also put some XL photovoltaic panels. Switch over to four-way symmetry. Right here. Okay. Now this should theoretically be a far superior rocket. Now we need to adjust where this decoupler goes, for sure. And that should be more like along with the drogue chute. We'll probably do this manually though. So let's move this into its own stage. Okay, and then this decoupler is there. Yeah, that's fine, along with the fairing. Okay, so that addresses pretty much all of the weaknesses that this rocket had, which were primarily threefold. I just did not think this one through. We also don't have a backup antenna except for the one in the rovemate. But that's okay, this antenna is retractable. So that should be fine. We'll just have to remember to retract it as we go through. Alternately, we could put on like these are relay antennas, but we could put on like a high gain antenna. But I don't think we need to. I think that this communitron here is fine. We'll just have to retract it as we go in. Which could be a little awkward because we'll have limited probe control. But I think we'll be able to still stage with limited probe control. I should look this up. ASP, can you stage with limited probe control? Let's see here. Let's see. Nobody's really saying. Okay, good to know. Well, I think we're fine. We managed to land entirely with no probe control. So we can do it again. Yeah, we'll be just fine. Okay, Geraldo, let's do this. We'll save this design. This is a much, much improved design from what we had before. And let's go ahead and launch it. Fantastic. And I want to get this thing onto the surface this episode. So we got to move quick. Engage autopilot. Go. You'll be fine, MechJeb. Do we dare physics warp? Maybe we do. If MechJeb starts having trouble, we can de-physics warp. But so far, so good. It's kind of wobbling a little bit. But I think we're fine. Okay. Yep, we're fine. Okay, MechJeb wants to warp at 2x, so that will be where we'll be warping. We're going to go ahead and turn on RCS just to push us over this way so that MechJeb doesn't lose control again. Come on, MechJeb. You got this. Yeah. Now we're headed this way. I'm going to turn off RCS just to conserve monopropellant for now. Okay. We're in space now, so I'm going to turn it back on. We're going to head over towards the maneuver node, back off. I'm going to go ahead and physics warp up. As we approach the maneuver node, going to physics warp down. And come on. There we go. Okay. Now MechJeb will take over and circularize. We don't need to do our gravioli detectors because we did actually have that flight go through, which was a wee bit unfortunate, but it's fine. Okay, our side boosters will be falling off now. There they go. That's a huge amount of dead weight gone. Fantastic. Now, one thing I do want to think about is, as we start heading towards the outer planets, redesigning our upper stage. There'll be some interesting things that go into that. But as of right now, I think we're fine. I mean, we have so much Delta V to get to Eve, it's not even funny. So let's just keep with this, and we don't need to get fancy quite yet. Okay, we are now officially in orbit. Fantastic. We don't need to do anything like warping around the planet. We've already got all of that. So right about here, we're going to go ahead and burn prograde and escape the system out this way. Oh, lost the node. There it is. Right about... That's honestly good enough. Get rid of the ascent guidance, open up the maneuver planner. We'll just execute that node. We do not need to stop time warping. That is completely fine to not do that. And I'm just going to physics warp on up as we get this turn done. Because like I said, I want to land on Eve this episode. I don't want to be put behind another episode from my own failures. I mean, it wasn't too much of a failure. We did land, but I'm still unhappy about it. Okay, once we get done with this auto warp, then I will get rid of this fairing, since we don't need to be carrying that anymore. Or do we? Do I want to carry the fairing? I think I want to carry the fairing, just to protect things. We've got this, so we're fine there. If we go inside of the fairing, we may be able to open up the communicatron. Although we're currently warping. We will not be warping momentarily, though. There we go. Okay, we cannot deploy that while stowed. So, yeah, I think we'll go ahead and get rid of the fairing. Because we will need our antenna. So we'll go ahead and extend that. Excellent. It looks like our solar panels did not extend either. We will go ahead and get those extended for now. There we go. This one didn't extend. Now it did. Excellent. And we shouldn't have power issues with this design, theoretically. Yeah, I mean, these photovoltaic panels, they have very small flow right now because they're almost parallel with the sun, but they're fine. Okay, off goes this mainsail. I mean, it's not done, but we're done with the maneuver. And then we can simply warp on up. Off we go. Warp to our escape, and there we go. Now, once we're here, we can do our normal, set Eve as target. At the descending node, go ahead and add a maneuver, and we need to go this way. Oop, that might have been too much. Nope, that's pretty much right on. Okay, execute that node. Fantastic. Physics warp on up. Man, this is a lot easier with a reaction wheel. We honestly don't even need this. There we go. Reaction wheels are so OP. And now we warp on in. There we go. Our orbit is a little odd. I wasn't expecting it to diverge from the Kerbal orbit quite that much. Like, we're a good quarter of the way to Duna. That's cool. But we're still targeting Eve. However, if this is a successful rover landing on Eve, we will be done targeting Eve, at least for the time being. Also, in case you didn't know, we currently have a contract to recover science data from the surface of Eve. So that's nice. But once we're done with that, we're going to start focusing on positioning satellites in a specific orbit of Duna and Ike. Because the Duna system, if I recall correctly, has just the one moon. Yes, it does. Excellent. And that's not a terrible orbit, actually. I don't mind that. I don't hate that. Okay, Eve. Eve is our focus and our target. So, we are now in the same plane. So let's just do a quick home and transfer to target. Let's see what that does. That's a little bit non-terrible. I mean, I want to adjust it a bit. Where is the actual node at? There it is. Okay, let's adjust this slightly. Can we... Okay. I don't hate that. However, I also really don't hate this. Okay, we'll call that good. I just wanted to make it a wee bit closer to equatorial. Can we get even closer? Probably. Something along the lines of that. Okay, we'll execute that. And physics warp on up while we're turning, make it go a little faster. We've still got another 12 minutes here in this episode, so with any luck, I mean, I might end up extending this episode slightly, just to get this actually landed. I want to be done with Eve. I want to move on to Duna. So let's do this. We have about a year before this burn. And then once we're here, we can adjust our orbit however we want. We have so much delta V, it's not a concern. Have to remember to stow these as we're going down, but that's fine. And we have a decoupler here now. So, I mean, theoretically, we shouldn't even need to stow them, except that this causes the crazy spinning, and we don't want the crazy spinning going on with our delicate parts. However, the reaction wheel should make that a lot better. Theoretically. Everything is theoretical at this point. We've got another 100 days before this burn, so that'll be a little while yet. This only needs an accelerometer. That's interesting. This one needs a mystery goo unit. We'll probably just have a standard Duna orbiter that we're going to make. I like having standard things. It's one of the reasons why the previous one failed, was because I deviated from the standard pretty consistently? That's not the word I'm looking for. the word I'm looking for is considerably. I deviated pretty considerably, and I didn't think it through, apparently. I didn't consider a lot of things. For some reason, I thought that there was a decoupler here already, and there was not. Oh well, though. That's water under the bridge. It is what it is. It successfully landed, but it was useless. And so we do it again. I mean, honestly, this is kind of better, though, at least in terms of my schedule, because this is the last episode that I'm recording in this recording session, and so I don't have to, you know, start something new. That's kind of always a bit awkward when it's just like, well, I need one more episode today, and, well, gotta start something new. It's usually best to wrap things up in this last episode rather than start a new venture. Oh well. I mean, I'm saying oh well. That's exactly what I'm doing. We'll be landing this thing. Like I said, this episode might go a little over, but I am committed to landing this thing this episode. This is not going over into next week. We've got another 2 minutes on this burn. I'm going to go ahead and physics warp up just so that we get through it faster. There we go. Excellent. Now this isn't purely equatorial, obviously, but it's actually kind of close-ish. We'll be able to adjust it, at any rate. It's not really a big concern at all. And in fact, it's probably close enough for where we're trying to get to. Okay, this burn is wrapping up here in another couple of seconds. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so at this periapsis, we are going to need to go ahead and do a braking burn. Down to about here-ish. I mean, I would like to adjust this inclination a bit. That's a little more than it needed to be, I think. Right about here isn't awful, in terms of this axis anyway. Yeah, that's close enough. Okay, and let's burn a little bit more retrograde, get down to about 150 is good. I liked that from the previous one. There we go. And we're going to execute that node. Physics warp up while we turn. We turn quite quickly. Like, we really don't need this monopropellant at all. But it's better to have too many things than too few, as we discovered last time. So this burn will be in about 100 days. And, I mean, as far as this inclination goes, I think it's good enough. It'll be fine. Don't need to worry about adjusting that anymore. This is going to be a 1200 meter per second braking burn, as it is. So that's fine. Let's see, we should just about be to Eve now. Where are you at, Eve? There's Eve. Hello, Eve. We do have a different orbit, so we are going to go around and get our gravity scans. I did see at least one there that we hadn't gotten. So that'll be fine. But we are going to need to do this burn, and it's going to be a kind of lengthy burn. There we go. Yeah, like an 11-minute burn. So, we're going to, as we do this burn, let's think about where exactly we... Ooh. We don't want to land on this side of the planet. That's quite the archipelago they've got going on there. Would much rather land on this side of the planet. The planet will rotate as we come in. So hopefully our timing is good on that. I think it's okay. Like, we'd really like to land right around here. Landing on the night side is not ideal. I would much prefer landing on the day side. So, like, right here, except, like, right here would be ideal. But as of right now, we need to finish up this burn before we can really decide where we're going to land. Looks like we're currently relaying to this Odd One Mark III. That's kind of to be expected. Another 700 meters per second in this burn, too. Oh man, we've only got 5 minutes left in the episode. Oh boy. Well, at least it's not a hard and fast time limit. I can go over if I want to. As evidenced by the fact that I've had like 45-minute episodes before accidentally. Well, this might end up being a long one. We'll see. So once we get here to this periapsis, I mean, like I said, I don't like doing multiple nodes at the same time, but I do think our inclination is good enough. I don't think we need to worry about our inclination. So we're just going to do a quick circularization burn at the periapsis once this burn is finished up, here in another 2 minutes. Not 2 real-time minutes, closer to 30 seconds in real time. Hooray, physics warp! Physics warp is my friend. More like 15 seconds now. Okay, so once we get in position here, we'll do a circularization burn. Hopefully by the time we get that done, Eve will have rotated. Yeah, Eve definitely isn't tidally locked, because it is rotating. And it's going this direction, so that's not too bad. But let's just go ahead and reduce our apoapsis down here to be, I mean, we want to circularize, so right around here or so. 139? Close enough. We'll execute that node. Physics warp on up. There we go. And now this will be going off in 2 hours. That'll be really swift at this altitude to warp that far. There we go. Where is that one that we didn't get? Okay, we're in space near now. So I think we have all of them for, well, we are in a significantly different orbit though, aren't we? I mean, I don't think it's amazingly different. But we should physics warp on up here. There we go. Let's just see if we get any new biomes while we're doing this burn. Theoretically, we shouldn't, but we might. Oh yeah, isn't the water on Eve supposed to be like pure rocket fuel or something? Something crazy like that? I think that's what the lore is. Let me check that. Let's see here. Where is it? That's all of the atmosphere stuff. A large portion of Eve is covered in oceans of explodium, a liquid with a density of 1.5 tons per cubic meter that is heavily implied to be a form of rocket fuel. A real-world liquid that closely fits the properties of explodium is hydrogen peroxide. Okay. Well, that's cool. Eve is covered in rocket fuel, so it makes sense that the Kerbals want to get there. So far, I haven't seen any biomes that we need to grab. There aren't actually that many biomes on Eve. How are we doing on this break? Not bad. Not bad. We're pretty close. We only have a few seconds to go on this burn. Should be done in about 10. Okay, yeah. So, it looks like Eve is rotating nicely. So if we just drop at the apoapsis up here, we should be fine. So I'm going to go ahead and add a maneuver here to drop the periapsis down to not that low. More like there-ish. And we are going to execute that node. However, I need to go ahead and stow our solar panels here. And then retract this antenna at least briefly. Okay, we are in position for the burn. Once the burn starts, I want to try retracting it. Okay. Burn is still happening. So I think we're fine. Because it was a pre-set up maneuver node. So LOS expected. Okay. Where are we at? Periapsis of 60 kilometers, right over here. I like it. So we're going to be dropping in relatively soon. I want to set to surface velocity minus. We don't need any of this fuel anymore. We have a lot of overkill fuel here, just to be on the safe side. I'm going to go ahead and detach all of this fuel. It'll just burn up in the atmosphere. So that's going to be this next... Yep, just double checking that it's going to be this next stage. So let's go ahead and do that. Excellent. And we are going to inflate the heat shield. There we go. Now I'm going to make a quick save, because I'm paranoid about this one. I already thought the last one was going to be a loss by this point, but there we go. Let's go ahead and just warp forward until we hopefully enter the atmosphere a bit. 1, 0, reorient. Fantastic. Okay, so looks like they actually, that data that I had before was a little different than the reality. According to the KSP wiki, Eve has a very thin atmosphere starting at 90 kilometers, and then it thickens very, very quickly. Okay. Well, the sun is already reasonably high, and we've got a ways to go until we really start slowing down, so I think we're fine. This heat shield is insane, and is going to slow us down a lot going through this atmosphere, which is perfect. And I do want to pull OBS back up so that I can see how long I've gone over here. Altogether too long is the answer. I mean, we're only at 28 minutes. It's not that bad. So I'm going to go ahead and physics warp up. You can see we're dropping speed very, very rapidly, even though we haven't really started hitting major heat effects yet. And then I want this decoupler to be ready to be manually decoupled at any time. Excellent. Okay. Looks like we're starting to flip. Well, we're not in surface mode. Okay. It looks like our reaction wheel is holding it steady. That's great. Okay, so now that we are going a reasonable speed, let's re-extend our antenna. I'm not going to re-extend these solar panels just yet, but I want to make sure that we have connection to the antenna for now. So let's just stick on up. We don't need to be on surface velocity minus, since our surface velocity is our horizontal velocity is basically 0 and descending. Excellent. Okay, so we are currently, looks like 22 kilometers above the terrain. And then the question becomes, when do we want to ditch this construct? Well, we have a temperature scan here that we can transmit. So let's go ahead and do that. And an atmospheric pressure scan that we can transmit. We're going to save our mystery goo observation, though. And let's check our gravity scan. Can't be done right now. That's interesting. I wonder why. Well, we got our data coming through the atmosphere. That's great. That's going to get us a decent amount of science. We are still decelerating. This thing is a great parachute. But let's go ahead and fire off our drogue chutes. So, yep, drogue chutes go out. Excellent. And then let's send out our main chute as well. We'll leave them at their default levels for now. Let's see, our terrain altitude is still at 10 kilometers. But we're moving so slowly. I think at this point we ditch our heat shield. We don't really need it anymore. So, go on. Get out of here, you heat shield. Why are you stuck? Okay. So that happened. This isn't what I wanted. This is what I wanted. Let's load the autosave. Let's see, where is it? There's a lot of things in here. Year 8, day 328. This one. Year 13, day 285. Where is this? Because the only reason that happened was because I had the physics the physics warp on when I did that. That was my mistake, to be sure. 5 hours 51 minutes. I think this persistent save is the latest. Surely there was an autosave in there somewhere. We'll see where this is. I know I had a quick save that I made on the way down. Come on. You can do it. Okay, where are we at? Well, I know I had a quick save on the way down. So where is it? Year 13, day 285. 5 hours 51 minutes. I have no idea where that quick save went. Was it this quick save? Okay, yeah, this is the quick save. Excellent. Okay. Let's try this again without the physics warp. Because I'm an idiot and should have de-physics warped before I decoupled that. It was entirely my fault, but I am willing to save scum it because I don't want to do this again. And also because the physics isn't supposed to act like that. Another thing I could have done... Well, no. Not really. That's not really another thing I could have done. Okay, let's go ahead and physics warp up, but let's not forget that we're physics warped up this time. Excellent. We're on surface velocity minus. And here we go. We are on our correct approach. And this is this new one, so yeah. All I did was went back a little bit. Still very obnoxious, but like I said, it's entirely my fault for physics warping up. Or, well, decoupling while I was physics warped. Go into surface mode. There we go. And now we don't decouple until the parachutes actually inflate, is what we're going to have to do. So that way the parachutes pull us up more than the heat shield is pushing us up. Because that was the big reason why it didn't immediately detach. And then the reason why we exploded, well, that was just because of the physics warp. Okay, so let's go ahead and deploy our chutes. There we go. Deploy chute. Fantastic. And now I do want to set these chutes to deploy higher, just so that we have a little bit more leeway here. Altitude of, well, this one can be at 2,500. That's fine. And we're going to go ahead and transmit this science as before. Oh, right. We need to extend our antenna back out. Transmit that. And then the other one was the atmospheric pressure scan, which, where is that guy? That's the seismic accelerator. That's still the seismic accelerator. I know there's a barometer on here somewhere. It's probably hidden behind something. That's a mech jib. There's a barometer. Transmit that. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to make another quick save, because now I'm really paranoid. Excellent. I swear we are landing on this thing this episode, even if I have to go to an hour. But I shouldn't have to go to an hour. 40 minutes should be about the right target, which, it's a bit of a long one, but it'll be fine. I'm sure everybody will watch the whole thing all the way through, and nobody will stop 15% in like most of my viewers do. If you've gotten this far, congratulations. You've beaten the average. I don't know how you do it. Are these running? No, we should run our radiators. It's actually apparently not that hot on Eve's surface, which is a bit surprising, but we'll run the radiator nonetheless. Where are we currently? We are currently 7,000 kilometers, and by that I mean 7 meters, and by that I mean 7 kilometers. Oh man, that was almost as much fail as the last rocket. Clearly I need to stop. I've been doing this for too long today. Luckily, this is the end. Okay, we are at 5 kilometers. There go our drogue chutes. Excellent. I'm going to go ahead and de-physics warp. I'm going to make a quick save, just to be safe. And then I'm going to go ahead and decouple the heat shield now. Okay. We're good. We're good. Now I'm going to physics warp back up. Bye, heat shield. You're going to die. Oh, man. It does not like the physics warp. Heat shield? Are you okay over there? What are you doing? I'm rather confused about the power source for this. Well, it'll be exploding momentarily. There's its shadow. Did it actually just safely land? I think it just safely landed. Oh boy. Okay. I mean, I can't say I'm I can't say I'm hugely surprised about that. Well, we're currently about 2 kilometers above the surface. In fact, we can use this as a decent benchmark rather than looking all the way over here, which is, you know, a lot of work. But we can use this as a general benchmark as long as we accept that it's, you know, about 100 meters off of the actual amount. We should also probably turn on our brakes immediately. And at this point, do we feel safe extending these photovoltaic panels? I feel like we do. We're only moving 3 meters per second. There we go. Excellent. We're going to kill rot. And we're just going to point up. Although, we don't have an SAS on this thing, so it is what it is. Let's see, we'll be landing momentarily. We are at 1.4 kilometers. Well, that's convenient. We may as well turn our lights on. There we go. Turn on lights, since we actually have solar panels. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? This rover has a lot of stuff packed onto it. Like, perhaps too much stuff packed onto it. Yeah, I'm gonna go with perhaps too much stuff. But we can always put more on the bottom. But that causes some issues with detachment, so we're not going to do that immediately. This model of rover, of course, has more stuff on the top than our standard model, and we will be adding some stuff to that and moving some other things around. But for now, we are only 500 meters above the terrain, and it looks like this is going to be a successful landing, although I kind of want to go take a look at our heat shield, which is not very far away from us, so we can peel over there real quick and take a quick look. We're only, 16 minutes over. What could go wrong? We could flip this thing and lose all of our power again. That could go wrong. Well, I'll just have to not do that. We are going to be, 300 meters away from it. So, I mean, it's not super far. I should probably de-physics warp, just to be on the safe side. And I'm going to quick save, even though there's literally nothing I can do about it if this goes wrong at this point. There we go. Look at that. Is it not truly glorious? We're going to do a temperature scan and transmit that. Transmit that. There we go. We're going to do, not another temperature scan, we're going to do an atmospheric pressure scan, transmit that. We are going to do our mystery goo observation right now. And transmit that. Yep, I know that that will make it non-functional. We are going to transmit a seismic scan. Excellent. That's a lot of data. How are we doing on power? Pretty well, actually. And we're going to go ahead and transmit a gravity scan as well. And then we completed our contract. Now that we have all of this done, I just want to real fast make a quick save. I don't know how this thing's going to perform on this surface. This actually isn't bad. I mean, that's just rolling under gravity. Ooh, this thing can move pretty good. We don't want it to move quite that good. We'll keep it kind of slow. Ooh, don't want to turn too much that way. Heat shield just got in physics range and fell over. Good for you, heat shield. Okay, well, let's just go take a look at the heat shield quick, and then we can call it a day. We can always drive this thing over to other biomes or whatever, but for right now... Whoa, now. Whoa, now. It really wants to pull over to the right. I'm not quite sure why it wants to do that, but whatever. We're just gonna come on over here. It looks like that whole structure is completely intact. That's a little surprising. Okay, let's turn on our brakes. Okay, we're fine here. Okay, I'm gonna put a cut in here at long last, but we're done with the Eve system. Onward to Duna. See you all next time.